reports that the club are about to put out a statement supporting Erik Ten Hag. What can you tell us? Is that legitimate? What does it mean? What do you know?
As usual, Susannah, with you, those are very good questions, and it's not exactly a clear answer. It's being quoted today that Manchester United last night put out an official statement, which, and I'll read it to you here, said, the reports claiming we're exploring alternatives to Erik Ten Hag as manager is categorically false. Now, that's a very firm statement, but it wasn't an official club statement. It was a brief sent to a select number of media outlets and journalists. And I think what prompted it was, of course, there are reports that the manager's position is under scrutiny, is under consideration. That's to be expected when results are bad. But I think what tipped Manchester United over the edge was the report in the Times said that they'd spoken to a senior source within the club. As always, it cannot be named the source, but the Times stand by their story, saying that Erik Ten Hag is considered to be on thin ice. And I strongly suspect that is what provoked that reaction from Manchester United. Now, I spoke to Manchester United this morning. They said, look, it's absolute nonsense. It is not being discussed in any shape or form anywhere, an alternative to Erik Ten Hag as the current manager. Now, that in itself is, if you like, if you're a supporter, I'm not sure how you would take that if you're a Manchester United supporter. Because if the results are poor, then surely you'd have to be thinking, OK, if we do have to make a change, then we ought to be thinking about other things. At the same time, you can completely understand why the club couldn't afford or would not make that public at all, because it would completely undermine the coach. So in some ways, it clarifies things. In other ways, it potentially just deepens the intrigue and, if you like, the clear, unsettling behaviours around the club at the moment.
Geoff, for me, it just seems how this club was firing on all cylinders at the end of the Premier League season last year. There was no talk of Ten Hag and the uncertainty of Ten Hag or the uncertainty of player signings. But at the moment, who would be responsible for sacking Ten Hag? And are we close to getting the voted dread of confidence for Ten Hag now?
Well, we have seen this movie before, as you well know. There's a cycle on repeat here. Think Mourinho, think Moyes, think Van Gaal, think Solskjaer. This happens at Manchester United. To your point, why is this happening now? Well, £400 million spent by the current coach, and as they sit 8th in the Premier League right now, 5 wins, 5 losses. That's not good. Their form is just not good enough right now. They're not in a good shape. Who would make the decision? Well, ordinarily in a club like Manchester United, of course, it's the owner, the Glazers. You've got the chief exec, Richard Arnold. You've got John Murtough, who's the director of football. They would normally be the people who would make such a decision. But outside of that, of course, we have Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Ineos Group who are coming in. Now, they are taking a quarter of the club, it is led to be believed, but that hasn't been ratified as yet. And also, within the understanding is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's group will oversee football operations. So, of course, he would have a big say in who is the next Manchester United manager. So, given that his deal hasn't come through, can they afford to, or could they make a decision without consulting him, even though the deal hasn't been done? Again, it's more of a mess.
Geoff, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, only because you've seen so many iterations of something like this in your time covering the Premier League. One, this has to be the biggest crisis for Manchester United since the beginning of the Premier League. I can't really think of another situation that had this many questions around it, especially with ownership and leadership. And second of all, who do you think rises to the occasion, if anyone? Is it a player on the pitch? Does Ten Hag regain control of this locker room and this club and the players? Where do you think this falls out as far as on the pitch?
I think, to be honest with you, the collective responsibility for the failures at Manchester United fall everywhere. They are in the boardroom, they're in the support, they're in the structure behind the team, and they're also very much in the forefront of the actual results themselves, which is down to the players and the coach. As you well know, ordinarily, when the team performs badly, the coach gets the blame and carries the can. no question the players could be doing better. Their performances, as we see, aren't good enough individually in terms of they're not scoring enough goals. They're getting dribbled past way too easily in midfield. Defence is leaking goals. But you have to then say, well, isn't that down to the coach to get the appropriate performance out of his players? Players have to take personal responsibility and collective responsibility. Scott McTominay came out this week and he said, we take responsibility as players. We have to turn this around. We have to support the manager. It's down to us, not him. The truth is, everybody has to accept their part in the poor showing so far. But as always in football, ultimately, if it's going badly, it's the manager who carries the can.
Well, Geoff, they will be traveling to Craven Cottage this weekend to take on Fulham, which on paper looks like a winnable match for them. But considering everything that's been going on with this club, how do you expect them to show up on Saturday, this weekend, for this match? What do you expect to see from them on the field, and how to respond to kind of all the outside noise that's been going on?
I think, Susannah, it's going to be one of the most important team talks that Erik Ten Hag has given since he's been at Manchester United, because his methods are being questioned. And what happens in scenarios like this, little leaks come out of the dressing room. There are always anonymous quotes from sources, from media outlets speaking to players. There is apparently discontent within the dressing room at his hardline methods, both in training and his treatment of certain players, Jadon Sancho, Harry Maguire. So if you've got a disgruntled group of players, how much are they really going to put themselves on the line for the manager? Now, publicly, of course, they say they're going to give their all. And most professional footballers will always do that. But it's that vital last percentage, if you like, where they really come together as a collective. They really need a result, because there's 3 massive games coming up before the international break. They've got Fulham away, then they're away to Copenhagen in the Champions League, and they're at home to Luton. Now, going to Fulham right now, who are outside the top 10 in the Premier League, I think they're 15th Premier League position right now. Yes, you could say on paper that looks winnable, but Fulham are a good side. They've got a lot of spirit themselves, and Manchester United travel there with very little confidence and under massive scrutiny as well. So I think that would balance, if you like, the norm in terms of assessing this actual game. This is all about Manchester United on Saturday. Fulham fans, I apologise to them, but whatever the result is, this is a Manchester United story.